Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how to make a simple skirt. This is easy to make and it's beginner friendly. If this is what you like to learn, please watch to the end of this video. To all returning subscribers, I appreciate you all. Thank you for your support. And if this is your first time seeing my video, you're welcome. Please subscribe if you're here to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. The first thing I've done is to fold the fabric for the front short into two using half of the upper thigh circumference, and the length of the short is 19 inches, but to that I've added extra 2 inches because this is a high waist skirt. So that extra 2 inches is actually added to the crotch depth, okay? And I've removed 1.5 inches for the band. The band is going to be 1.5 inches of length, so I'm left with 19.5 inches, and I've added another 2 inches for hemming the shorts. The first thing I'm going to do will be to measure out the crotch depth. So for the crotch depth, I'll place my tape on this line which acts as the waistline. You can see the chalked part. I placed my tape on 1.5 inches and I measured out 13.25 inches, which is the crotch depth. On the crotch line, I'm going to impute quarter of the hip measurement, and I'm also going to impute quarter of the hip measurement on the waistline, and I'm going to connect these 2 points together. Then for the crotch extension in front, I'm going to come up on this newly ruled line by 2 inches, and from the right angle there, I'm going to come up by 1 inch and make a curve for the front crotch extension. From the crotch side, I'm going to take the measurement for the waist. I'm going to measure quarter of the waist measurement plus extra 1 inch for that. I will be adding that to the front and the back of this short. Then from the crotch line this way, I'm going to come up by 2 inches and connect the measurement on the waist to the 2 inches I came up by. Then at the lower thigh, I'm just going to measure. You can do this two ways. You can just measure your thigh circumference there and then come inward by 1 inch at the crotch side and then connect it to the crotch line. Or if you have taken the measurement for the lower thigh like I did, you're going to divide the 14 inches you have on the upper thigh and note the midpoint. So when I divide that, I have 7 inches. So from this point, I'm going to measure 7 inches, which is the midpoint of the upper thigh. I'm going to measure that here, and then I'm going to divide the measurements I had when I divided the lower thigh. When I measured the lower thigh, I'm going to divide that into 4, and then I'm going to place what I have on either side of this midpoint I just noted. So I measured, when I divided, I had 6.25 inches, so I'm going to place that on either side of this midpoint and then connect it towards the crotch line this way and towards the crotch line the other way. Then the ½ inch I have above after the waist measurements would be used to attach the band. That's an allowance. I'm going to fold in my hemming allowance and go ahead and cut out this front piece. For the back piece, I would fold another fabric into two. The length should be the same with the front piece, but the width should be 3 to 4 inches bigger. And I've placed the front piece on top of this fabric. So the hip I have on the front fabric, I'm going to divide that into two, and then from the midpoint I've noted, I'm going to remeasure quarter of the hip measurement into the new fabric. Then from that measurement, I'm going to come down by ½ inch, and that will be the crotch extension for the back. Then I'm going to add my sewing allowances. On the waist, I'm going to add 2.5 inches sewing allowance. I did not add any allowance to the front piece. Then I'll keep adding that 2.5 inches at this crotch part. As I'm coming down, I'm going to keep reducing that till I reduce it up to 2 inches. Then I'm going to make these dotted lines into a curve. I'm going to make this into a curve, and this is for the back crotch. Then at the lower thigh, I'm going to add 2 inches sewing allowance on the back fabric. So I'm going to add 2 inches here, and then I'm going to connect this towards the crotch. I'll go ahead and fold in my hemming allowance like I did the first time, and then cut out the back piece. For the dart on the front piece, I'm going to come in from the crotch side by 4.5 inches, and the length of the dart will be 4.5 inches for the front dart. I'm taking ½ inch on both sides of this line. I'm going to go ahead and notch this. Then for the back dart, I'm going to measure what I have on the waist, what I have total on the waist, and divide that into 2. Or from the crotch side, I'm going to measure inward by 6 inches, and then the crotch the dart's length for the back is going to be 5.5 inches. That means that the back dart is 1 inch longer than the front dart. So to cut the skirt piece, I folded a fabric into 2 using 1/4 of the hip measurement. Then I'll take the front piece. I'm going to fold in the crotch part this way. Just watch what I'm doing. I'm going to place the crotch part on the folded part of this skirt and make them align. Then the side of the short is going to be with the open part of this fabric. I'm going to go ahead and trim out this curve on the side so that the skirt takes the form of the short. By doing this way, I've transferred the dart on the shorts to the skirt. So this is cut with the dart. So you can go ahead and sew in the dart on the skirt just like you do on the short. Use the bust span measurement to take your dart, and take a dart of 4.5 inches of length. But for me, I'm not going to be sewing a dart on the skirt part. So what I'll do will be to sew in the dart on the short, sew the crotch together, the front crotch together, also sew in the dart at the back. Then after doing that, I'm going to fold my front piece again. After sewing the crotch together and sewing in the dart, I folded the skirt piece again. So I'm going to place the front piece on it so you can see the excess I have. So if you sew in your dart, you don't need to do this, but I didn't sew in the dart. I don't want to sew in the dart on the skirt, so I'm going to just trim out this excess for the dart on the skirt piece. So when I open this up, this is what I'll have. The wrong side of the skirt piece should be on the right side of the short. This is how it's supposed to be placed. Okay, so they'll be attached together, but it won't be, the skirt won't be full this way. I have to trim it off. So on the short, remember that I added 2 inches hemming allowance. So this 2 inches is not part of the length of the short. This 2 inches allowance also reflects on the skirt piece. Okay, that means I would either hem the skirt piece or reduce it so that the side matches with the side of the short. And also on the left side of this skirt piece, I'm going to reduce it. I don't want it to get to the same part. So what I'll do, you can decide where you want to, by what inches you want to reduce it by. So for me, I'm going to reduce it by 2 or 3 inches. So I measured 3 inches, but I'm going to reduce that by I'm going to measure 2 inches because I'll still hem this part. Then I'm going to rule a straight line down, so this part will be cut off. So it doesn't necessarily have to be straight this way. You can make it slanted, so you can either come in this way or come out and then connect and follow it how you want. But I will go with the initial line I ruled. I'll cut this out. So when you cut this out, you're going to fold and hem. You don't want it to be left this way, so you have to hem, fold ½ inches twice and hem it. Then at the lower part this way, at the side where it will be attached to the short, I have to reduce it by 1 inch because I want to hem the lower part of the skirt piece by 1 inch. So I'm going to reduce 1 inch this way and then connect it to the tip of the other side this way. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to reduce this so that when I hem this skirt and when the short is hemmed, the two sides will meet at the same point. So that is what I've done. I'll go ahead and hem this way and hem it at the lower part, and then I'm going to attach it to the short piece, the front short piece. When I'm attaching, I'll make sure I'll stop 1 inch before the hemming allowance of the shorts. So I've attached them together. You can see what I have at this point. I've hemmed the parts I said I would hem. So the next thing now will be to join the front and the back together. I'm going to join them first by the sides. I will leave the back crotch open because I'll be attaching the zipper at the back. So I'm going to sew the front and the back piece together by the sides. After that, I would insert my zipper. But before I insert my zipper, I'm going to attach a band to the waist part. I'll also hem the lower part. For the band, I've cut out my band piece. I ironed interfacing on it, and on fold I have 2 inches of height for the band height, and the width is the waist circumference plus extra 2 inches. So that's what I've cut. So this is the short at this point. I've joined the sides together. I've hemmed the lower parts. Okay, so this part I left open. I'm going to sew it complete after the hemming. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to attach the band. To attach the band, I'll start from the right side. So I'm going to sew from one end. I'm going to sew with one piece of the band this way, sew it with half inch, then flip to the other side and top stitch. After sewing on the band, I'm going to go ahead and attach my zipper to it. Sew up, measure about 10 inches, attach the zipper, close the remaining crotch, sew the inseam, and that will be all for this short. So guys, I've done all that. I've attached the band, the zip, I've closed the inseam, and this is what the skirt looks like at this point. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to this channel if you're yet to subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a new video, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. I will be dropping a link in the description box on how to make a high waist short, and I'll be dropping links to different playlists in the description box as well. You can check them out. You might find something interesting there. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.